Hi, I'm RandomTrashy, welcome to the channel. This is going to be a Q&A video. If you didn't check out my previous Q&A video, you can do that by clicking on the I in the top right corner of this video, and the video will be linked in there. I've got some questions from Instagram and Facebook today. If you want to leave a question for me, you can do it by leaving it in the comments below on this video. You can hit me on Twitter, you can hit me on Facebook, you can hit me on Instagram. They are all /RandomTrashy. I've got some really interesting questions today, a few controversial ones, so probably want to stick around for those. I am really kind of keen to get stuck in on these. I do not want the video to be too long. The last one was like 30 minutes, this one's going to be about 10 minutes, so I'm going to fire off some of these quite quick. That one guy, Sam, from Instagram said, how long have you been playing Airsoft? I've been playing for about 4 years. 2 of those years really intensive. The last year's a little bit slower. I've been focusing more on the YouTube channel and the reviews, and some upcoming projects that are going to be coming to the channel soon. So yeah, you'll be seeing them in maybe 3 or 4 weeks, but they're awesome. The next one's a little bit controversial. It's from a guy called Beginner Airsoft Player over on Instagram. It says, how do you feel about the recent growth of Airsoft bunnies? And then in brackets, in other words, women that are showing provocative photos in order to gain followers, but they're like hashtagging them Airsoft and, you know, posing with Airsoft weapons. I don't think it does any damage to what we do. They don't really deliver any content that I'm personally interested in. They're going to gain followers for the wrong reasons. They're going to get, you know, men that are interested in them in their underwear or whatever they're posing in, rather than them as an Airsoft or Milsim player or whatever. So I think, you know, it doesn't really hurt anyone. If you're after that sort of content, you can go and look at it. For, you know, guys that are actually interested in Airsoft and Milsim, you know, it's just kind of another thing that gets brushed to one side. Next question is Gas Blowback Customs. It's awesome page. Thank you. Please check out my page. Feature gas blowbacks. What are your opinion on gas blowback guns? It really depends on the gun, the brand, the type. I've never seen a decent gas blowback weapon. I've never fired one. I've never seen one that's really reliable. A few of my friends run the GHKs and they've had nothing but problems with them. So no, I'm not really a fan of gas blowback weapons. The Doki Airsoft has asked me a few questions, this on Instagram. He's got a really cool page as well, so if you are interested in some really awesome photos, the Doki Airsoft puts up some awesome photos. Best Airsoft moment? Oh, that's a good question. It's a good question. I was with a guy called John Allen at a very small weekend Milsim game. Me and him went on sniper ops for the weekend. We left our base earlier than we should. We kind of broke the rules a little bit. We were meant to be laying in and not attacking till 6. We didn't actually attack till 6, but we left the base quite early. We literally face skull dragged all the way to the edge of the players' bases. I was watching one of them have their breakfast through my sniper scope, and on 6, on the button, I threw a load of pyro in and started slotting people with my sniper rifle. My heart rate has never ever been so high. It was absolutely epic. The Doki Airsoft. What gun / loadout would you have if money was no object? Damn, difficult one. I feel at the moment I've got the kit that I would buy if money was no object. I genuinely do, because I wouldn't go and buy Cry everything, because I don't think that for what you're paying for, you get the performance out of it. My Claw Gear trousers were about £90. They're way better than Cry, in my opinion. They're absolutely solid. It's not about spending all the money, it's about having good, strong kit. Gun-wise, I've just got my TM. I absolutely love it. The thing is a beast. I wouldn't change it for the world. Maybe nods. I'd have like 30 grand PVS 32s or something like that from the States. Or I'd spend like 50 grand on night vision. Other than that, I'm pretty good where I am. A Bulbasaur always drops me questions. Really cool guy on Instagram as well. Go check him out. What upgrades do you generally install in your airsoft rifles? It depends on the gun as to what I do. My TM is staying absolutely standard. I get asked about it all the time. It's not having any mods done to it. It's staying as it is. But the majority of guns, if they've got a plastic hop unit in them, I replace them with a Pro Win, and I always go with Mad Bull barrels. I think Mad Bull barrels for me are the most reliable. They're well made. They're not overly priced. If you buy them from the States and import them, they work out quite cheap. In the UK, they're about 40-50 quid. You can normally pick them up for $25 with like $10 shipping, and you'll pay minimal postage on them on the way in. So because of the value. So yeah, Mad Bull barrel and maybe a decent hop up unit and bucking. Mad Bull bucking. CJ Curtis, what would you recommend to someone who has experience with Airsoft but wants to transition to Milsim? I have put a Milsim basic load up on this YouTube channel. You can go and check it out, and I will be doing a full guide to transitioning from skirmishes to Milsim. What I would always say is just go. Find an event you want to go with some friends, go with a smile, leave with a smile. Don't let anyone make you feel uncomfortable. Just do what you've got to do. If you want to be there to Milsim, go there. Don't focus on anyone else. Don't worry about what kit anyone else has got. If you can get through that weekend and enjoy it, go and do Milsim straight away, because you will leave with a buzz that you don't get from skirmishing. A full weekend out doing ops, using vehicles, smashing buildings, actually going after proper targets, intel gathering, doing recceing, doing patrols, all of that will give you a buzz way better than anything you're going to get at a skirmish event. So yeah, just go, kick it. There is a guide on the channel, and there will be a full guide to that transition thing coming to the channel fairly soon, next couple of weeks. Okay. CJ Curtis, another question. It says, what are your thoughts on airsoft players learning first aid in order to take care of themselves in larger ops? Real first aid, or kind of airsoft first aid where you wrap a tourniquet around someone, are quite different. There are events now that Combat Airsoft Group are doing, and a few other guys have tried to copy it, but Combat Airsoft Group do it best. They have CAS sims, they have like simulated medical scenarios during the event. I saw some photos of an event that I actually sadly missed, of a guy that was simulating having his leg blown off. There was a false limb on the floor, blood everywhere, and the guy was screaming and freaking out. As people were trying to fix his leg or like tourniquet it up to stop the bleeding, he was grabbing them and pulling them all over the place. It looked intense. One of my friends that was the medic of that weekend, rejected lens, absolutely freaked out. He said it was the weirdest feeling when loads of smoke and bangs are going off and you've got this guy screaming on the floor with blood squirting everywhere. He said it genuinely freaked him out. So, another question, Airsoft Vixen, really cool Airsofter, female one that's actually kicking it and doing it properly, not running around in loads of pink shit, you know, just making a bit of a knob of herself. Airsoft Vixen looks badass, she's out doing it properly, which is cool. Do you have any airsoft superstitions, like always the same grip bag even though it's battered, or a morale patch in a certain place or anything like that? I always wear my warrior patches or warrior items of clothing. I don't know if it's superstition, but in the back of my mind I always have to have something of the warrior brand on me, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's my wristband that I always wear, a cap, patch, something I have to have just as a little morale, little token in the back of my mind. It just, I don't know, it's weird. Okay, moving on. Okay, TF Reaper 06. This is a really good question. This might take me a little bit of time to answer, but I will try and wrap it up. It says, do you feel the airsoft community is dying or being reborn? A lot of people are leaving, a lot of younger kids are joining. How do I feel about that? I think that the sport of airsoft is in a massive flux of change. And I think it's a very positive one. I don't think there's any negatives. If people want to walk away from this sport, it's because they don't love it anymore. And as soon as you stop loving something or enjoying it, your performance in it becomes worse. And I've had this with loads of sports. I used to ride loads and loads of mountain bike, loads of BMX. As I began to fall in love with other things or gaming or whatever it was, as my interests moved, my performance in that sport got noticeably worse. When I stopped playing competitive computer games, and started moving towards other stuff, mainly airsoft, my performance was terrible, and we did play a couple of tournaments where I jumped in, and yeah, I played awful. Played in the World Championships release for Black Ops with Benny Central and LT Zondra. Me and Benny were actually teamed together, who at the time was probably one of the best players in Europe, if not more, like an absolute boss, and I played awful. So I think if people want to leave, that's good. Young kids playing, I think it's awesome. I think they're full of energy. They bring something new to the field. And I think if young kids want to get involved in airsoft, I will always support the younger kids and go and give them advice and give them kit and give them what they need to get into the sport. Because at the end of the day, those guys are going to be the future of carrying the sport on. So the nicer you are to the younger kids that are out there, the nicer they're going to be when they become in our spot and move on. So yeah, I think it's awesome. I like the fact that kids are doing this rather than, you know, sitting in a park smoking weed or you know, sat playing computer games for, you know, 20 hours at a time. It's much better that they're out playing airsoft. So I'm totally into that. Probably going to squeeze one more question in, and then I'm going to, the rest of them, the ones from Facebook, I'm probably going to have to bump till next week's video. It says, Echo 1, how do you rate Cry kit? Is it worth spending the extra money for the brand name, or as players just as well with Warrior Semi-Pro kit or something like that, that's half the price? I'm not a fan of Cry Precision at all. I think it's overpriced. I think people wear it, think they're, you know, walked straight out of some sort of badass movie where they're untouchable. I think it gives someone a bravado and a little boost to their ego. I don't think it's all that functional. At the end of the day, I wore cheap surplus store multicam trousers for about maybe a year. It made no difference to my performance at all. As soon as I got my claw gears, yes, they repelled water more, but they didn't make me a better player. And I think that these guys go out and get a Cry Precision CPC and Cry trousers and a Cry top, which is the best part of maybe 1,400 quid, and think that that's going to help their performance out on the ground. It's not. I'm not a fan of it. I don't think that it makes anyone a better player. It doesn't put them in a different league compared to someone who's there and kitted in semi-pro. At the end of the day, the good thing with Airsoft, and this is what's good about Airsoft as a sport, that if it fits you and you feel comfortable in it and you can go out and fight in it, then that's all you need. So yeah, hopefully that covers everything off. Hopefully that hasn't sort of upset anyone or any brands or anything, but that's just my honest opinion. If you have any questions for a Q&A session or anything that you want to ask, make sure you stick it in the comments box below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all soon.